How's it going, guys? So this week on the PhantomCave news, we're going to be talking about the latest Phantom. We're also going to be talking about, will the Phantom continue? Was Old Man Moz's prediction right? And a lot more in this week's PhantomCave news. So there's a new Phantom comic coming out this coming Thursday, and when that Phantom comic comes out, when this video comes out, it would have came out yesterday. So this weekly PhantomCave update and weekly PhantomCave news is always up on a weekly basis on Friday. Now, the new Phantom comic that will be coming out is The Prisoner of the Golden Cage. Now, as I said last week, I had a prediction that I was going to predict that the story was going to be a daily story. Well, yeah, that didn't go to plan, did it? But the story in this comic that I've been hearing of folks is that the story might be a Sweden story, and usually, you know me, I love my Sweden stories. So also, this week, we also have the 18th issue of the Giant Size Phantom series coming out. So that's pretty cool. Now, we also, in the new Phantom comic of Prisoner of the Golden Cage, we also have the 5th episode of The Riddle of the Grey Malkin. So, basically, I was watching one of the latest podcasts on YouTube today, and what that podcast was, it was the latest podcast on Chronicle Chamber, which they had been talking to Jason Paulos regarding certain issues and regarding to what his career has been about. And basically, I had a theory of last week we talked about how Phantom by Gaslight, the new trade paperback, was coming out, and I was thinking, well, if the cover artist has already done the cover, it already has done the coloring, and there's supposed to be 6 parts, well, then in this new podcast that we've been talking about, and in this new podcast by Chronicle Chamber, we actually see that Jason Paulos actually says, no, there's 8 parts to this, 8 episodes to this new Phantom by Gaslight series. So I'm taking this, I'm putting it into my own language, and I'm seeing that if this story is already published, then what incentive are the audience or are the readers going to get when we actually see or hear or buy this new trade paperback? So what actual incentive are we actually going to get? Will we get more unpublished stories in this new trade paperback, hopefully? And will we be getting anything different than what we've actually seen in this new Phantom by Gaslight series? Because if you think about it, you've got it's in color. Every trade paperback up until this time, it has been in color. It's already been getting published. The first 8 or 6 parts has been published by Frew right now in the last couple of weeks. So what incentive are we as buyers, as consumers, going to get for buying this book? So yeah, that's just my opinion on if we're buying this book, and thinking, oh yeah, it's got new stories in it, but actually the stories have already been published. So why are we buying this book if they've already been published? Yeah, that's just my opinion on how come these stories have already been published, and we might be seeing a new trade paperback. So that's my rant over. Coming up in this week's news, what will happen to the Phantom? A new segment on this week's news, and a new PhantomCave PhantomCave announcement to make. And so, you may have been wondering, you may have seen in the last week, you may have seen on Saturday last week, that the latest story. So the latest story, we have pictures up on screen right now. So latest story, we see we see the Phantom possibly dying. We see him possibly passing away, since I think he must have been injured or shot or something by rebel guards. And we see this Savannah girl that has had her role in the Phantom stories since I think the late 2000s, early 2010s, when Paul Ryan was doing it. But yeah, what has been happening in the Phantom right now? We've actually seen a slow emergence. We've been seeing a slow emergence of this Phantom that is going off on this adventure. He knows it's a life or death situation. He knows it's a life or death adventure that could cause him to pass away. So why are we seeing this? And why are we potentially seeing that the Phantom might pass away? And now we're seeing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that the Phantom isn't actually dead. He's not passed away. He hasn't basically gone to what you'd call heaven. He hasn't, because we see a panel where Old Man Moz is basically giving a story. He's trying to do his prediction. He's doing a prediction. He's what you'd call the storyteller in the comic. And we see the Phantom listening to the story, and only a couple days ago we saw the Phantom nearly passing away. So that is just a big brain explosion just there. We saw this, every fan thought, wait a minute, can't be true that we actually seen the 21st Phantom actually pass away. So yeah, in long story short, a lot of fans had been guessing, and a lot of fans, if you hadn't seen it last, a couple of months ago, we actually saw a breakup in the story where we see the Phantom, he runs into Old Man Moz on an adventure to go on his precarious adventure that he is going on, and possibly could die, life or death situation. But we see this jagged lines, and is that a communication that this actual prediction of what Old Man Moz is telling the story right now, is that just a prediction, or is that just something else that we've got to be worrying about? Or is that just a future issue that we don't even know what is happening in the story? Like, we don't even know what's happening with the Phantom right now. He could be in two worlds at the same time. He could be doing DC's universe right now. What has happened? But long story short, I hope this story where it's been saying that this prediction of the Phantom possibly dying, we actually saw when Paul Ryan was doing it, that Tony DuPaul actually made a story where the Phantom nearly passes away and Old Man Moz does his prediction work. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the next couple of weeks, and to see how this story evolves and develops. We have a new segment right now, Facts with PhantomCave, and this week's fact this week, we are talking about back in July on the year 2014, Integral Comics in India, we saw a post, possibly one of the final posts that they had posted on Facebook. We actually saw them basically saying that Lee Falk had he had a very distinct feeling for the Phantom. Obviously, he's the Phantom is he's the Phantom's creator. But Lee Falk, he featured a country which was India in a lot of his stories. He featured, firstly, up in the early stages, he featured the country called India in his stories, and then country of where the Phantom is based right now, to Bengala. So yeah, that's an interesting fact from PhantomCave. I hope you like it. You can comment down below if you would like to provide any more facts to PhantomCave and myself. And the new PhantomCave announcement this week, Dick Tracy, the 1937 old black and white serial is coming to your screens this Sunday. So we will be releasing the new and improved 1937 Dick Tracy serial. And as always, we always like to do everything that we can possibly give to the fans, and you'll have to tune in on Sunday. If you would like to support PhantomCave reviews, you can do so by subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting down below if you have any questions on regarding to what topics we discussed this week. And as always, keep PhantomCaving, stay tuned, stay safe, and we'll see you next week on the PhantomCave News.